Thanks for tuning in to The Roman Show. Make sure you subscribe right there down below. This week we welcome Nige Rockett of the band Onslaught, all the way from the UK. They're delivering some great heavy trash metal, and we are lucky to hear it very soon here in August. Their new album is called Generation Antichrist, and let me tell you, it's very, very freaky because the lyrics just pretty much talk about everything that's going on in the world right now. This interview and podcast is brought to you by our good friends of Ball Watch. Check them out, ballwatch.com. Enjoy the interview. Welcome back, everyone, to The Roman Show. And what an honor it is to have this gentleman here on the program, Nige Rockett of Onslaught. Onslaught, a band that, has been with such a history. This band has been around since the 80s. Such great music, and they have now released, they will be releasing on August 7th, Generation Antichrist, and how appropriate it is for this album to drop with all the things that are going around in the world with the pandemics, and here in the States we got protests, but really that's spread all over the world. But Nige, thanks so much for your time and speaking to us. I got to tell you, I've listened to the album. I've had the exclusivity, right, of listening to it, and wow, it's just it's amazing stuff. I know it's been in the work for some time. You guys teased it back in 2018. You released a song last year, and now, well, we got the full album. So congratulations on that, and welcome to The Roman Show, Nige.
Thank you, Ron. Great to be here. Great to talk to you, and I hope everybody's well. Or as well as we can be. That's
all we can do, Nige. So, Nige, Generation Antichrist, appropriate name, an appropriate time to come out. We're battling this pandemic here in the United States. As I said, we have protests in the streets. You know, how ironic did you guys drop this album during this time? As I mentioned earlier, you had teased it back in 2018. I know you had some changing in the band with the vocalist, but did you guys do this on purpose, dropping it in August? You know?
It's just kind of spooky, isn't it? It's, I mean, reading some of the lyrics on the album and what is going on, it's almost like we had like foresight into this, you know? It's very, very bizarre. I mean, obviously these songs were written mostly last year, so kind of before the pandemic hit. But man, how relevant it is now is really, really freaky.
It sure is, and listening to some of the lyrics is like, wow, this is exactly the same stuff that's happening right now. Now, here's my question. I know that Dave Garnett is your new vocalist now. Kyle Keeler is not with you guys anymore. When you wrote this stuff last year, did you write it with Cy and then Dave just took over from there, or did you guys modify with the lyrics? How did that come about? Because I guess you formally announced Dave being part of the group now, this year.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really changed in that aspect because I always write the lyrics and the vocal lines anyway. It's something I've always done. So Cy never ever sort of contributed in that way at all. He was always happy with what I did and happy to work that way. So that's how we worked, you know. So when Dave came in, there was never going to be any kind of change of lyrical stance or have to change any lyrics or anything like that, or even the vocal melodies, you know. It was all set there for him, ready, and he just stepped in and did a great performance, I must say. Obviously, it was a slight concern how it was going to turn out, you know, right before or right halfway through the recordings, basically. And losing somebody of size stature in the band with such a great voice, it was kind of worry at first, you know. But as soon as Dave got into the band and started doing his stuff, it was like everybody's just sat back and wow, this is incredible. Like, there's a whole new energy, a whole new vibe in the band now, and it's like, wow, let's go to the next level with this. So yeah, I mean, it was it's worked out well in the end, but it could have been disastrous.
So, I know you've worked with Dave prior in previous times. So was it just a smooth transition overall? No hiccups there along the line?
Well, it couldn't have been. It was just like we've been lucky, as we said. Everything's kind of weird with the lyrics, and this kind of thing just fell into place. You know, when we realised that we had to go separate ways with Si, and Dave had already done a couple of shows with us standing in. You know, when Si couldn't make it, so we knew what he was like live, and we knew how well he handled the old material, which is very important. Because the back catalogue's important to us and important to the fans, you know, so that had to be right. I mean, we've had problems in the past with vocalists not being able to handle the older material with Steve Grimmett. As great a vocalist he is, he could never really deal with the old stuff properly to make it sound how the fans expected it. So we bear that in mind this time, and that had to be right. So Dave was great with that. But as soon as we realised what was going on with Si, Dave sort of stepped up and said, "Look, guys, I'm here. If you want to give me a shot, I'd love to have a go." Like, I'm a massive fan of the band. He'd done the shows with us, so it was the obvious first place to go to, you know. So we gave him some demos of the tracks, the new tracks, to go away and sort of sing along to and let us have a listen to see what it sounded like. It came back and it was really, really good. Not like the vocal performances on the album, but it was real good. You could see the potential was there. So we said, let's give it a shot. And we put him in the studio with a producer friend of mine called Pete Hinton, who actually produced the first two Saxon albums, Wheels of Steel and the other one I can't remember. But yeah, he produced those two albums and lots of other things. And he's such a calming influence, you know, and he's very, very, very good in the studio, and he got some amazing performances out of Dave. So it just worked out seamless in the end. Really, it was incredible.
So and correct me if I'm wrong. So Perfect Day to Die, which released, was it last year?
Yeah,
that was Si.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
and then Religious Suicide was Dave, and it's funny because when you go and you hear this right now, if you go to like a Spotify or any of these other streaming services, and you can tell the difference. The energy, and you're right about that.
Yeah, I mean, Si has a huge, thick voice with a massive range. But Dave's just got this real aggressive edge to his voice, and it's really brought something out in the music. It's extra with the production and stuff. So, but yeah, we've got a new version on the album with Dave doing Perfect Day to Die as well. So that you can actually get a good comparison between the two vocalists. And they're not a million miles apart, to be honest, which is cool for Onslaught, because, as I said, we don't want the old material to sound any different than it should be. So it's just fantastic for us. We were just so lucky to fall on our feet, and Dave's a friend for a long, long time. So we know that the relationship's going to be good when we're on the road and things like that. So couldn't have been better.
Now, one of my favorites, in my opinion, here is Empire's Fall, especially with the beginning there. How you build up to to where the vocalist comes into play. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Little Slayer in there a little bit. It's wow. I mean, it's just from the build up. Tell us a little bit about Empire's Fall, and I think that for some reason, to me, it just comes into play here as what we're experiencing here in the States with the government. I don't know. You quote me. I know every artist has a different interpretation to music.
Yeah, it was. I think it was probably the second track we started work on after A Perfect Day to Die, you know? And it was the last track we finished, which was Bizarre, because I found it had so many incarnations. Many versions of that song got created before we reached the final one that's on the album. Because generally, if you listen to past Onslaught albums, the last two in particular, we've always got a track that's kind of different to the rest of the songs on the record, and Empire's Fall was that track on this one.
Right.
We had, I think, Children of the Sand on the sixth album, and Code Black on the Sounds of Violence song, which are kind of different, totally different vibes to the rest of the songs. So it does really stand out. I think there's some orchestrations going on in the middle section, which gets kind of aggressively, wildly chaotic with everything that's going on there. And it's like, it took a long time to work that out and make things work together. So when it all came together at the end and the mixes came through, it was like, wow, this is absolutely, that is what we've aimed for. This standout or different track from the rest, you know. And lyrically, yeah, I mean, again, it just fell into place with what's going on, with what you're seeing on the streets and what's going on within the governments. Very bizarre. It's the same with the track "Bow Down to the Clowns" as well. It's just become so relevant over the past few months of what's going on. It's really spooked me out, to be honest.
As a lyricist, as a musician, you know, I've always heard that the best music comes where you're experiencing something personal or something that we see surrounding you all the time. Is this pretty much a good time for just lyricists, you know, writers, musicians, to really put some good music out there? But when you look at times, I mean, we go back to the Beatles. You know, this is during a time, the 60s, where, hell, everything was going on, right? You had the hippies and you had wars and so forth. You think we're at that state we're going to get to good music here? Because we need that.
Well, we've started. I mean, I've started compiling ideas for the next album already, because obviously we have plenty of times on our hands at the moment with no shows and whatever. So already I'm putting things together, and obviously it's based on now of what's going on, actually living through it, as opposed to the Generation Antichrist album was kind of pre-pandemic and stuff, even though it's sort of really sort of picturing or imaging what's going on now. But I think the new one is what I'm working on at the moment. It's got the potential to be even more kind of nasty and aggressive with what we're faced with at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely a great time for fuel for the lyrical fire.
Now, of course, we don't know exactly. We're touring and concert. We don't know what the outcome is, but when that time comes around to tour this album, any particular place that you guys plan to visit that you probably haven't performed in that you're looking forward to?
Well, obviously we've lost all our summer festivals this year, which is a big blow.
Yep.
We were also planning for US-Canada tour for October, November, which is a huge blow to lose that, because all the work visas were arranged already. Everything like that. South America obviously was in the pipeline too. So, and Europe and the UK. So we've got 4 tours to kind of reschedule straight away, which we're trying to work on now to try and be ahead of the game. But we're so fortunate as a band that we've actually played in almost 70 countries now around the world. So there's a bucket list we have now. And on the top of that list is Australia and India at the moment. Those are the 2 countries that we haven't hit, which are big countries that we're really keen to get to soon, you know. So, but obviously our main territories come first, and that's what we're currently working on. So, who knows when it's going to be? We may have to release another album before that, if it carries on the way it is. But we're trying to stay ahead of the game. You know, we're putting the album out, so the album's going to be out there ready as soon as the touring starts. And I know a lot of bands have kind of delayed their records,
right?
And what have you. But we didn't think that was a good idea. We thought, let's get it out there. Let's give the fans some new music to listen to, and some new fans for music to listen to, as nobody's got shows and stuff. So it could be a good time. I mean, Testament have put theirs out, Lamb of God put theirs out. So there's obviously reasoning behind doing that. So let's just hope it pays off for us as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't understand too why some of the bands are holding back, because it gives it an opportunity for the fans to marinate the music. You know, Lamb of God, just like you mentioned, they were scheduled to do a summer tour, and that pretty much just gone down the drain until next year. But yeah, you're right. It's a great opportunity for fans to really simmer in and understand the music and feel it out. And when they see it live, heck, they might even see new tracks because another album will come around.
Yeah.
But with thrash metal, you know, so great, man, and it's so good that you guys are still doing it and keeping this type of genre alive. But on your hand, do you keep in tune as far as some of the new bands that are coming along? As you know, new metal seems to be the thing now. Do you listen to any of those the bands, the new stuff, not the thrash metal, but the new metal? And do you have any favorites? If so,
no, not to be. If I'm perfectly honest, no, I don't. I do like some of Lamb of God, of course. because they're probably the nearest thing to a modern day thrash metal band, if you like. At the moment, they're doing something different, but it's still got that attitude and aggressive energy, you know.
Right.
But the way I look at it, it's just the bands from our generation are still putting out some great music, and that's what I like to listen to, you know. Testament putting out some great music. You look at all the bands; they're really on form at the moment, which is very cool. And I still listen to a lot of punk music as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's I'm still pretty old school in my taste, and that's where we come from, and it's still happening, you know.
And now, Nige, on your side, on a personal level, I understand you're a good football or soccer supporter, and even playing in managed teams. But something that grabbed my attention is here that you run a construction company that renovates old buildings, specializing in work for the disabled. That's some pretty interesting things that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I come from a family of construction workers anyway, so it was kind of in my blood from like a little kid, because I used to go to work with my father on Saturday mornings when I wasn't at school, and he'd take me into work with him, and my uncle and my brother did it as well. So it was kind of something I was always going to get into on leaving school. And then I discovered music, so I kind of disappeared from it for a little while. But it was always there, you know. And obviously when the band split the first time, I went back into doing that and kept it going ever since. Obviously, sort of learning new skills along the way. So now I'm pretty accomplished at what we can do. We can do a lot of different things, and it's particularly great doing the disabled kind of works, you know, because you see you're making a big difference in somebody's lives, you know, and it's very rewarding when you can help somebody a massive amount who particularly can't get out of their house and things like that, you know. So it's kind of a cool job to do, aside from being a musician.
It sure is, and thank you for that, for helping those in need. So, Nige, I want to thank you so much for your time here. Again, Generation Antichrist, available August 7th on your favorite streaming service. You can listen to Religious Suicide, available already on your favorite streaming service, or on YouTube. There is a video as well that's out there. So, Nige, thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing you someday on the road. You guys are not doing that virtual concert, right? Because I pretty much have had it with those things.
No. I didn't think it was right for us. It's thrash metal needs the interaction between the band and the fans, you know, and it's just I don't think it's for us personally. So, or
a drive-in concert, drive-through concert.
Well, if you can imagine like one of those derby things where they crash all the cars, it might be like that.
I was about to tell like bumper cars.
Yeah, that's the only way that could happen.
That'd be pretty cool if you think about it.
A bit of cars.
That would replace the mosh pit, right? The bumper cars.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll be practicing social distancing, just hanging each other, getting whiplash.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't think about whiplash.
Yeah, and trashed. All right. Well, Nige, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Again, everyone, August 7th, Generation Antichrist by Onslaught. It's been a while and they released some fresh content. So make sure you go ahead and headbang yourself away and rock it. I myself was jamming to it while I was working out. And thank you for the good music, Nige, and look forward to seeing you out on the stage very, very soon.
Thank you, Robin. Great to talk to you, mate.